I don't know where the camera is on this side of my phone, so I'm just gonna look all over like someone who has something bad on their face. Anyhow, doing a product review for a new incubator that I purchased. It's a 64 egg incubator. It actually controls both humidity and temperature. Super duper easy. I'm just doing a review on it because I'm getting lots of questions on the Amazon account. Oh, come on. I gotta turn this camera around. This is ridiculous. Where am I looking? You can see all the controls and displays. There is a user manual that is barely 4 pages. Here it is. Ooh. It's pretty tiny in the writing, but really I come from a background of a medical field and working in a lab, and we had manuals 24/7, and that's a fairly easy, straightforward manual in my opinion. I read it over the first day I got the machine and then put it back in the box. I've had it for about two weeks, maybe 3, and I just pulled it out again to start it up for doing some eggies. And I barely had to look at it for 3 seconds to figure it out. Basically, if you want to tinker with all the delicate settings, you can go through all this really eye-crossing stuff, which is actually, when you follow it step by step, quite easy. Or you can just go to the presets, which they have handily made just for you, and set it to chicken. You can set it to duck, goose, dove, or pheasant. So I set it to chicken, and it automatically does exactly what it's supposed to do for chicken, and it says it in the manual, so you don't panic. You could top line right here says, look at the shadow of my fingers off of here. Days of incubation, temperature parameter for 1 to 6 days, 7 to 12 days, 13 to 18, and 19 and after. And basically tells you what the machine is going to do for you while it's doing that. If you want to do this on manual and not hit the chicken preset, you can, and be a total nut job and try and set that and remember all the days and all that crazy. Or you can be smart and do what they set this thing up for, which is take care of you and use the chicken preset. So right now I'm just waiting for all the temperatures and humidities to adjust. I'm probably going to let it run for a few hours just to make sure it is running fine. Day 1 is always, it counts, it kind of discredits day 1 on its own already anyhow. So we'll just see. I want to make sure it's running good. So far it is wonderful. This is the timer. It's counting down to when it turns the eggs. I've got all the racks in for turning. This thing is going to be super easy to clean. The only thing I can think of that people may not know about, if you're new to the incubation process, is there are certain things that are a given if you've done it before, and this manual does not tell you about. So obviously, by looking, these are the water trays where you fill up the water for the humidity control. You have to do that. I put a half cup of water in each one to begin with to see. Just waiting to see how it pans out. So far it's staying high on the humidity zone. I might take a little of that water out, but so far that's what I've done. I'll let you know if that needs to change, but really, I mean, I think it can do it on its own, and we will see. That's about the only thing, is where to put the water. And I mean, they give you a little squirty bottle. Ooh. Squirt, 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 squirt. This is probably a 1/4 cup. I didn't measure this because I didn't use it. I just used my measuring cup and poured it in. One thing that I did do to this unit is you're supposed to keep the styrofoam that protects it in the box to get it here. You can tell it's cut out specifically to stay on here. It helps it maintain the heat and humidity, but styrofoam is crap. So I put packing tape over mine just to give it a little extra layer of protection, because I already cracked it on one side getting it in and out of the box. So that's something I would recommend other people to do. But if you do that, you got to cut out the holes. And then there's vents on the top and on the bottom that you need to make sure are not covered, because this thing needs to work proper. So anyhow, that's about that so far. I'll let you know how everything goes with the eggs and the egg turning. And I guess the only downside to this is there is no peep window for you to see what the eggs are up to when they're hatching and whatever. But hey. So far, I'm quite impressed. I have the eggs in there. I'm going to check to make sure they do turn here in a bit. And it's got 72 minutes, so another hour before it turns again. But as you can see, the temperature kind of fluctuates just a little, like a heartbeat, barely 0.1 of a degree. But for the most part, it actually stays on the 38, and the humidity is staying at the 60. These are what I have it set to, and these are the actuals. And so they're pretty good. So far, so good. Day counter, whoop, everything's working. Day 2, just a little update. Some things I've figured out. You can see that the humidity is not staying perfectly at 60 right now. It's because I added a little too much water, so I had to make the effort to get that water out of there, because if you add too much water, the humidity just goes through the roof, which is obvious, but I didn't realize that the water maintenance was part of the humidity control, which is normal for other incubators, but I just assumed this one you could load it up with the water and it would control the rest. But you do need to just keep like that. I started off with a half cup, and then at the end of the day, I needed to fill one of the reservoirs. So when you do that, just do another half cup in that reservoir. But I actually filled the entire reservoir to see how much it would take. And it took like a cup and a half. And that really sent it to 77. It was terrible. So I panicked. All right, so it just switched to its first cycle of turning. Crap, did I miss it? Oh, I did. But anyhow, I'll show you the spacing of the eggs. Looks good. So no alarm now. All right, as you can see, we've switched over to day 8, which for me would be day 7. So I'll probably do some candling of the eggs today. So far, everything's been good. Maintaining humidity is a little tricky, but not bad. I just do a half cup or a quarter cup of water every 4 hours, and it's good. If you overdo it, it'll just crank up the humidity, and the only other thing I noticed, and I'm going to show you right away here, is when the eggs are rolling, they slowly migrate to the back side, and I have to bring them all this way again. I quickly candled 2 of the eggs, and it doesn't look like there's anything in them, which is my rooster's fault, not the incubator's fault. That's all I'm saying. Anyhow, in case you're curious, this is what the alarms sound like. And it's saying add moisture because the humidity is low, but that's just because it's resetting because I had the lid open, so it should be fine. There we go. Climbing. And I'm not going to add till it completely settles out, which I won't at all because it was at 55 when I opened it. So one really good thing to know about this is if you do lose power, it does not reset. So when you do establish power again, it does continue off where it left. However, it continues off where it left. So if it's a couple hours before you get power, which is ridiculous, I have a battery on standby with this hookup already. But yeah, so here, let me show you. I'm going to unplug it for a bit here. I did my candling and there's none of them are fertilized. I have a new rooster, so I don't even know if he's viable yet. He just hit his, peak. Anyhow, let's see here. So I wasn't sure if they were fertilized, if he was doing his job or not. And there we go. Back at her. Day 8 still. Time 1:20. Everything the same. Trying to do a video, you nosy bunch of rats. Anyhow, it just pieces down like a Lego house. I just lie down. I don't need your hair everywhere. Okay. So I just wanted to show you the okay. Is this a party? No, it's not. It's not. Okay, stop. Come down. Okay. Now, this is the bottom. The fill stations for the water are out here. And then inside are the 3 trays. So I was just looking to see, would you leave that alone? And there's a middle divot, and that's where the main humidifier, like where it draws up from. Interesting. I guess it kind of doesn't matter. You can see all the way through the layers. I'm going to quickly dump that and then put it back together and show you. Okay, so main layer. Then we have the screen for when the chicks are hatching. Yes, hello, Helpy Helperton. And then this is the egg turner, which you remove after the 22nd day. But for now, it kind of just sits in the middle. Do move it till it fits, till it slides in. Help. Hello. All right, now this just goes back on top. You are so nosy. Make sure the wire's not in the way. There. Now I'll just adjust it so it can fall straight down. Oh, see, you can see the egg turner's in the way, so just bump it. Bump it. There. There. It all fits together. If it doesn't go together, you've done something wrong. It's pretty simple. If you take it apart as it comes and take note of how things go together, it should be all right. I'm glad I put plastic on this. It just gets battered. Anyhow, I'm going to leave it staggered with the lid tipped sideways and let it dry, because nothing hatched, there's nothing to clean. I use distilled water, so everything's wonderful.